Central Iran, 34 kilometers south of Qom, 2:10 in the morning, 72 U.S. Army Delta Force operators from 1st SFOD-D were moving toward Iran's Silent Dagger Bunker. Inside the mountain complex, 286 Iranian forces defended the command servers of a hidden regional air defense network. Delta Force had 90 minutes to break the bunker and erase the network before reinforcements arrived. Silent Dagger sat under 41 meters of rock and reinforced concrete. It linked radar sites, missile batteries, drone relays, and backup command posts across central Iran. Iranian forces believed no strike package could hit it fast enough, and no ground force could reach the core before the network switched to emergency control. 2 outer gates, 3 tunnel choke points, 6 hardened machine gun nests, and 18 internal blast doors made the bunker look untouchable. The U.S. Army assault plan was simple and tight. Alpha Element had 18 operators and would cut the north approach road, destroy the ZU-23-2 anti-aircraft guns, and seize the main gate controls. Bravo Element had 20 operators and would breach the vehicle tunnel with linear charges and push to the power rooms. Charlie Element had 18 operators and would enter through a ventilation maintenance shaft, drop into the operations level, and take the server hall. Delta Element had 16 operators and would stay outside first, set MK11 Mod 0 and M240B positions, stop counterattacks, and guide 2 drones carrying thermite packs onto backup antennas. At 2:14, the assault began from 4 directions at once. Alpha moved along the road cut. Bravo crawled to the tunnel mouth. Charlie reached the shaft cover above the eastern slope. Delta Element opened the fight with 2 suppressed shots from a MK11 Mod 0. Both lookout posts fell. 3 seconds later, a Javelin missile hit the first ZU-23-2 gun. A Carl Gustav M3 round smashed the second gun. Iranian forces heard the blasts and swung floodlights toward the road, but the wrong slope lit up. Alpha rushed the gate block with M4A1 SOPMA 2 carbines. 2 guards dropped behind sandbags. A third guard tried to reach the alarm box. A burst from an MK18 CQBR stopped him. Bravo fired DEET cord across the tunnel barrier and blew the steel mesh inward. The first 6 operators entered under dust and sparks. Charlie placed C4 on the shaft cap, lifted it clear, and went down one by one on rope lines. Delta Element swept the ridge with M24OB fire and pinned a PKM team before it could turn toward the tunnel. At 2:17, Iranian forces inside Silent Dagger still did not know the size of the attack. The bunker commander believed the blasts were the start of an air raid. He sent 24 men to the surface and kept 60 more around the server hall. That split his defense at the worst moment. Alpha cut the main cable trunk beside the gatehouse and killed the outer camera feed. Bravo cleared the first bend in the tunnel and shot out 2 ceiling lights. Charlie hit the maintenance floor below and moved through a narrow pipe corridor toward the elevator bank. The tunnel defense woke up fast. 2 Iranian forces rolled a steel cart into Bravo's path and fired AK-74 rifles over it. Bravo went low. A grenadier fired 2 40mm rounds. The cart flipped. A breacher ran forward, stuck C4 on the side wall, and blasted a man-sized gap into the service passage beside the tunnel. Bravo turned through the opening and came around the defenders from the flank. 4 Iranian forces were killed, 3 were wounded, the rest pulled back toward the generator room. By 2:20, Alpha had the main gate motors. 1 operator attached thermite to the control box and burned the circuits. Another swung the crash barrier down across the road. Then Alpha split again. 9 operators held the surface entrance with a MK48 Mod 0 and 2 M4A1 rifles. 9 operators pushed through the gatehouse stairwell toward the upper command floor. Iranian forces fired down the stairwell with a D-K mounted on an indoor pivot frame. Alpha tossed smoke, shifted left, and sent 2 operators through a utility hatch. They reached the gun from the side and killed the crew at 5 meters. Charlie reached the first blast door at 222. The lock wheel would not turn. A breacher fixed a shaped charge to the hinge line. The door blew inward. Charlie entered a map room and met 11 Iranian forces moving out with RPG-7 launchers and AK-74 rifles. The room was too close for rockets. Charlie fired first. MK18 CQBR rounds broke the lead pair. M4A1 fire cut down 4 more near the table banks. 2 Iranian forces tried to hold behind a steel cabinet. A fragmentation grenade landed beside them. The rest ran deeper into the operations floor. At 2:24, the bunker lost normal power. Bravo had reached the generator room. 2 guards near the diesel tanks died under suppressed fire. A 3rd man hit the emergency switch before he fell. Red backup lights came on through the tunnel. That helped Bravo more than the defenders. The red wash marked every doorway. Bravo split into 2 files. One file secured the fuel pumps. The other file moved to the breaker wall and blew the relay racks with thermite. Silent Dagger stayed alive on battery strings, but heavy systems began to fail. Delta Element saw the first Iranian counterattack form outside at 2:26. 32 Iranian forces moved from a lower barracks toward the main gate in 3 pickup trucks and 1 armored utility carrier. Delta waited until the lead truck entered the narrow bend under the ridge. Then a Javelin missile hit the carrier. An AT-4 struck the second truck. The road jammed with fire and wreckage. Operators on the ridge added M24OB and MK11 Mod 0 fire. 11 Iranian forces died in less than 40 seconds. The survivors left the road and tried to climb the slope. Alpha caught them from above and forced them back down. Inside the bunker, Charlie pushed toward the command hub. 2 corridors met at a steel security cage. 4 Iranian forces fired through the bars with a PKM machine gun. Charlie dropped flat. Sparks kicked off the floor. A breacher slid a linear charge along the base of the wall beside the cage. The blast tore the frame open. 2 operators entered through dust and punched the position apart with MK18 fire. Charlie found the hub empty. The bunker commander had already moved to the server hall with his radio team. At 2:29, Bravo started the climb toward the central level. 12 Iranian forces tried to hold the ramp with sand-filled drums and 2 PKM guns. Bravo fired 1 Carl Gustav M3 round into the barricade. The wall blew apart. A MK48 Mod 0 kept firing through the smoke. 3 Bravo operators rushed the left side while 4 more crossed right. The ramp was clear in 18 seconds. Behind the drums, Bravo found cable trays running toward the server level. That confirmed Charlie was close to the main objective. The battery room became the next choke point. Iranian forces knew the bunker could not keep command links alive without it. At 2:31, Bravo reached the room and met 14 defenders packed behind battery cabinets. The space was hot and cramped. Bravo could not risk full explosives there. Operators used short bursts and movement by pairs. One man fired, the other moved. Then they switched. An Iranian force tried to fire an RPG-7 near the batteries. A MK18 round hit him before he could pull the trigger. The rocket cooked off and burned 2 more defenders where they stood. At 2:33, Charlie entered the server hall access passage. The final approach was 27 meters long, with 2 overlapping firing ports cut into concrete. Iranian forces had planned it well. Charlie answered with speed. One operator rolled a flashbang under the first port. Another fired 6 rounds through the opening as it burst. A shaped charge broke the second port wide open. Charlie surged through. The first defense cell was dead. The second still fought from a side recess. A brief burst from a M249 SAW ended it. The server hall doors shut 2 seconds before Charlie reached them. Magnetic locks engaged. Charlie could not wait. A breacher fixed twin charges on the seam. The blast bent the doors inward. Inside were 26 Iranian forces, 4 radio racks, 2 command tables, and 8 Rs and 84 black server towers holding the Defense Network archive. Gunfire filled the room at once. Charlie moved left and right along the wall. 2 operators went down wounded. The rest kept pushing. M4A1 and MK18 fire broke the first rank of defenders. A grenade cleared the right console pit. Then Charlie hit the center aisle and drove forward row by row. At 2:36, Alpha reached the upper command floor from the gatehouse stairs. 7 Iranian forces tried to seal the internal cross door behind Charlie by turning a manual wheel. Alpha shot through the door slit and killed 2. A breacher placed C4 on the locking collar. The charge snapped the wheel off. Alpha forced the door open and entered the rear office lane behind the server hall. The bunker commander and 5 radio men were there trying to bring up a backup antenna link. Alpha killed 4 and captured 2. The commander ran into the hall and died near the 3rd server row. Outside, Delta Element launched the first drone at 2:38. The small quad rotor dropped a thermite pack on the backup antenna mast above the bunker. The pack burned through feed cables and the dish pivot motor. 30 seconds later, a second drone hit the relay mast on the southern ridge. Both backup links failed. Iranian forces in nearby missile sites could still fire local weapons, but Silent Dagger could no longer direct them as one network. By 2:40, the fight centered on the server hall. Bravo reached Charlie through a side maintenance door. Fresh operators entered with extra ammunition and medical gear. Iranian forces still held the far end behind overturned racks. 1 defender fired a PKM from the floor. Now another threw 2 grenades that bounced off a server cabinet. Bravo answered with a hard push. A MK48 Mod 0 fired in 5-round bursts. Charlie crossed the left aisle. Bravo crossed the right. The last organized pocket broke in less than a minute. At 2:42, the primary objective was in U.S. Army hands. Charlie sealed both hall entrances. Bravo checked everybody and removed 3 wounded Iranian forces from under the racks. Alpha pulled security on the rear corridor. Delta reported no new movement on the surface road. Then the demolition phase began. The U.S. Army had not come to hold Silent Dagger. It had come to break it beyond repair. Thermite charges went onto the 84 server towers first. 4 more charges hit the switching racks. 2 operators copied 11 hard drives into capture units for later study. The rest rigged the cooling pumps, power converters, and 2 crypto cabinets with C4. At 2:45, Bravo moved back to the battery room and set timed charges. Charlie wired the command tables, radios, and map servers. Alpha searched the command offices and found printed call signs, emergency signal books, and 19 sealed data modules. Every item went into marked bags. At 2:48, Iranian forces made one last attempt to retake the bunker. 41 men from a reserve security company reached the outer gate on foot from the west track. They carried AK-74 rifles, 2 PKM guns, and 3 RPG-7 launchers. Delta spotted them first and opened with MK11 Mod 0 rifles. Alpha added M240B fire from the gate roof. The reserve force split and tried to use drainage cuts for cover. A Carl Gustav M3 round collapsed the lead cut and buried the PKM team. The rest fired wild bursts at the gatehouse windows and went nowhere. Bravo joined the surface fight at 2:51 with a MK19 grenade launcher taken from a bunker store rack. 4 grenades landed among the reserve force in 12 seconds. The attack ended there. 11 Iranian forces were killed, 9 were wounded and left behind. The survivors fell back toward the west track, dragging 2 RPG tubes with them. No second wave followed. The nearest larger reinforcement unit was still 22 minutes away. At 2:54, the U.S. Army began withdrawal. Wounded operators moved first. Charlie carried 2 men on soft litters up the shaft route because it was the shortest path out. Bravo took the tunnel and left delayed charges on the generator room, battery room, and ramp choke point. Alpha stayed last inside the command floor and checked every bag, weapon, and captured drive. Delta kept the ridge under watch and scanned the south road for trucks or helicopters. The first explosions inside Silent Dagger hit at 2:58. The battery room blew, then the generator room followed. Lights across the bunker died for good at 3:01. The server hall charges fired. Heat from the thermite turned racks into burning frames. C4 ripped the cooling system apart. Smoke pushed out of the tunnel mouth in a black stream. Iranian forces near the west track stopped and stared as their protected command bunker burned from the inside. By 3:06, all 72 U.S. Army Delta Force operators were outside the objective area. Extraction vehicles reached the northern wash on schedule. The force loaded in under ridge cover while Delta held the last blocking positions. At 3:10, the Iranian reinforcements in 6 trucks and 2 armored carriers arrived at the southern road fork. They were too late. A Javelin missile hit the lead carrier. The column halted. U.S. Army vehicles were already moving north. At 3:18, one final charge dropped the main gate canopy and sealed the tunnel with concrete and steel. Silent Dagger was dead. In 68 minutes, the bunker lost its radar links, power grid, command core, archive servers, backup antennas, and emergency routing system. Central control across that sector of Iran's defense network stopped functioning as one system. U.S. Army losses were 3 killed and 9 wounded. Iranian forces lost 97 killed, 64 wounded, and 38 captured. The raid destroyed 84 server towers, 4 switching racks, 2 backup antenna masts, 3 generator sets, 1 battery room, 2 ZU-23-2 guns, 1 DSHK mount, 3 pickup trucks, 2 armored carriers, and 1 full command bunker. The estimated damage was $214 million. Iran believed Silent Dagger could survive long enough for help to arrive. Iran believed rock, steel, and numbers would keep the bunker alive. What actually happened was 72 U.S. Army Delta Force operators broke the defense network, took what they needed, and left the mountain burning behind them. Iranian forces had blast doors, high ground, heavy guns, and hidden tunnels. What they did not have was 72 U.S. Army Delta Force operators willing to tear apart an impossible target.